commentary slash video. So, something dawned on me, that because believe it or not, I've had to delete, um, like quite a bit of comments that come on this page. But the thing is that, like, if what I am saying is based off of not only experience, but also based off of the simple fact of that I'm actually retaliating to something that was said to me, then you can't really get upset or get angry at it. So I want to start off with a hadith, that was given. Let me find it. Uh, Hold on just a minute. Just give me 1 minute. Looking for it. Hold on. Okay, looks like the Arabic is not here on the hadith. Or yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I'll read it real quick. I'll read it real quick. So the hadith says, عن أبي هريرة أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال مستحبني ما قال فعل عبدي ما لم يعتدي منزول مظلوم. And so what that means is that if two people exchange harsh words, it is against the instigator as long as the wrong person does not transgress. So when, for example, what I'm about to show proves what I said on one comment. I left a comment on the shout outs to him. I left a comment on the Mati Tijani page. And what I show basically aligns with the comment that I said, you can't really get mad. So I'm not going to go to the comment right now, but I'm going to just show it. Shout outs to Darius M for this, bringing this clip to light. It's kind of like an old clip. Shout outs to him. He brought it to light, and I'm just going to show that clip again, because I said that a certain demographic of people, rather than follow after Khadijah, they rather follow Keisha and what Keisha does. You know what I mean? And it's coming to light right now.
Say hello to Webflow, the world's most powerful all-in-one design platform. It's an 8, but he only hits you up after.
This is how real men are supposed to treat you. This is how a gentleman is supposed to treat you. And she's not going to receive it well.
Taking me back to the airport because...
Hold on. Let me see. Okay, here we go. So...
Good at it. However...
Real men are supposed to treat you. I'm treating women who have...
Here we go.
Women who have been damaged goods like their quality.
That work.
Okay, so... What I said in that comment in the Mati Tijani section was referring to them, this group of this demographic of people. Okay, I'm not gonna name their nationalities. They know who they are. But you coming at me for me showing the obvious, it's not gonna get you far. But let's examine what I was talking about.
And I like my job. I'm good at it. However, I believe that working is ghetto. Like, I can't see myself working for the next couple of years. I don't know how people do it. And
so one thing we have to look at is, and I'm not saying that a woman is obligated to do this. And I'm also not saying that it's something that is very, very logical to do in this day and age. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is that it was done back in that time, and it was probably done with no complaints. You know, they probably did with like, they probably did what people do, right? But they probably didn't complain about it in doing it. So so what I'm talking about is, for example, the Prophet alayhi salatu salam's wife, his first wife Khadijah. You know, she was an enterprising woman. She was a businesswoman. She had like a flowing business going on, and there was probably no complaints about that. But when it comes to like Keisha, the Keisha aspect, which I'm about to show right now, this is where this demographic of people are at. But let's continue.
And work till they're 65, then retire. Like, that's insane. So, that being said, I am officially pimping myself out in a halal way, of course.
Now, while I won't talk about their version of Islam, I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole. I'm not going down that rabbit hole. But can someone let me know in the comment section, if you come across this video, is there a halal way of like, is there like a halal way of a woman pimping herself out? Like, it does that exist? Let me know. You know, let me know if that exists. Let me know if Muslim men historically sponsored Muslim women who they weren't married to, and actually just said, here you go, here you go, here you go, here's a dinar, here's a dinar, here's a dirham. Like, let me know if that existed. But let's continue.
I'm just looking for someone who is willing to pay for my lifestyle. And
so what do you think that lifestyle includes? You know, like, let's just be honest. Like, what do you think that lifestyle will include? You know what I mean? And the reason why I'm highlighting this is because I see it every day on Clubhouse. Okay, when I do decide to go down that, I'm gonna tell you the apps that are very much like portals to like demonic things: Clubhouse, Bigo, and the like thereof. I'm gonna let you know right off bat. Like, you know, if I don't have to go to those apps, like, the only reason why I would go on Clubhouse is for like productivity and for productive things. But if I don't have to go to those apps, bro, I will not go to those apps. But from what I see on those apps, it's this demographic of people who exhibit these behaviors. And I'm gonna tell you something. All the West African dads that I know, all the Senegalese dads that I know, all the Malian dads that I know, when their daughters started doing things like that, boop, they're getting sent on the next thing smoking back to Africa. You know, they're like, nope, we're not having this here. You know, they're like, oh, we're not having this. And so they would get sent back to Africa to like straighten out. They would get sent for like maybe 5 months at a time and stuff like that. They would come back, correct, and that's how it would work. You know, I don't know any West African dads who would play this. But let's continue.
Is tall, because I'm a tall girl. Yeah, you don't even have to be a decent. Is tall, because I'm a tall girl. Style, and is tall, because I'm a tall girl. Yeah, you don't even have to be a decent human being, because chances are, like, I'm probably not going to talk to you.
So basically what she wants a sponsor, but she doesn't want to have to be obligated to fulfill anything that sponsor may want from her. You know what I mean? Like, that's what this is in essence what she's telling us, that like, okay, well, you know what I mean, like you can pay for my lifestyle, but I'm not trying to give you anything in return for that, for you paying for my lifestyle. So my question is, okay, if you're not going to talk to him, what does height have to do with it then?
You just have to like wire me money. That's about it.
Hell no, you don't flew all the way out.
Okay, so that's what the point I'm getting at. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna say anything about the group of people, but you know the group of people I'm talking about. Okay, I don't have to go into it. You know the two demographics of people I'm talking about. There's only one democratic of people over there that is actually doing constructive things and actually not degenerates and actually contributing to their society. The reason I know is because I am affiliated with that group of people through Nipsey Hussle, and those groups of people are actually doing constructive things, and you know what I mean, are actually decent Muslims and are actually like, you know what I mean, like doing good things, you know. So them, you know, I exclude from the other two. But I want to bring something else to the attention that's happening. And it may be happening more too. It may be happening a little bit more. Let's go to it.
My son is hungry! My son is hungry! He's gonna eat! My son is
Hey, it's cool.
It's cool. Fucking money!
It's good.
Okay, so my son is hungry. My son is hungry. Okay, well, where's the dad at? That's the real question. Like, okay, like where is the father at? But as I have said in previous videos, you know that word, you know that phrase, you sure know how to choose them. That usually applies to all modern American women when it comes to dealing with, like, when you're dealing with them. It's like, you sure know how to choose them. You sure know how to choose them, right? I hate to say this, okay? I hate to say this. But modern Western women do not want men who are on their square, who run a program, you know, who run a smooth program. As bad as this sounds, and I'm not gonna disclose everything, but you know, the late great Nipsey Hussle, it's sad to say it, but you know, he was looking for peace. He was looking for like smooth sailing, but it's unfortunate that his wife wanted chaos, or that Lauren London, let's just say that she wanted chaos. You know what I mean? Like, you know, even for, you know, on Victory Lap, when you know, that was her voice on Victory Lap, he didn't really want to put it on there, but it was just the fact that, you know, she was nagging him. You know what I mean? So he couldn't even like run a program, you know, the way he wanted. It's sad to say it, you know. It's sad. It's really sad, but you know, with this situation though, what I'm wondering is, number one, where's the father at, and number two, like, why the government has so many like things to assist her. Why would she need to steal food if like the government has so many things to assist her, you know? But let's continue.
My son is hungry! No! Shit!
And the messed up thing about this situation is she put the son in the mix. You know what I mean? Like, she put the son in the mix. So this is gonna leave a lasting impact on the son. You know, that's the messed up thing about it. Like, this is gonna leave a lasting impact. The son is gonna look at this and be like, damn it. You know what I mean? Like, why, like, he's gonna grow up and realize that, damn, you know, my mom really kind of did me dirty, and putting me in these kind of predicaments. You know what I mean? That's the messed up thing. But let's continue.
What is he want?
My son is hungry.
How much is it?
I'm gonna steal. I don't care.
How much?
She said, I'm going to steal. I don't care about how much it is. And this is not a good look to put, like, the thing is, this is not a good look to, like, put out there. You know what I mean? Like, this is not a good look to, like, this basically destroys dignity. I'm gonna go to something that is in relations to my tribe real quick, Fulani tribe. I'm gonna go to something real quick that is in pertaining to us. Okay, so here we go. Well, you know what? This is another video in itself. I'm not going to go to it right now. That's another video in itself. That's another commentary in itself. I'll break that down. Yeah, maybe tomorrow I'll break down our code of conduct. And I'll break it down in a way that will show how it is parallel to other cultures outside of the United States. That's what I'll do. You know, right now I'm not going to do it. But that'll be another time. We'll do that another time. But the thing is, in this situation, it's like you have to ask yourself, like, does she have any dignity at all in doing something like this? And not only in doing something like this, you know, I'm wondering who is filming this. You know, I'm really wondering who's filming it.
How much is it?
I'm gonna take it.
Hey, I'll pay for it.
My son is hungry.
I'll pay for it.
Hungry. They took everything from me today.
When
Okay, so this is what it is, you know, with Keisha. And they say, and they come to this page, oh, you bash black women, you just practice self-hate. It's just a matter of the simple fact that you guys keep on showing your asses. So what else am I supposed to do? It's not self-hate if I'm exposing things that guys have to watch out for. This channel wouldn't even be here if it wasn't so many fellow Africans coming to me saying, yeah, you know, I was dealing with her and she took everything from me. Yeah, you know, I had a kid with her. She won't let me see the kid. Yeah, you know, I have a kid with her. She's imprinting bad ideas into the kid's head. Yeah, you know, I had a kid with her, but the kid won't listen to me every time I see her. I wouldn't have to do this if this wasn't the constant thing coming to me. Because it's sad to say it, but like, they know I'm African as well, so they confide in me with what they're going through. But let's continue. So this next one I want to go over, shout outs to Pink Book Lessons. You know, there was like some talk about, basically, I guess you can say there was like an incident where there was a bodega owner who stabbed a dude in the neck, and it was hasta la vista for that dude. But what they don't know, and people were in an outrage. People were like, "Oh man, you know, this Spanish guy, you know, they hate black people." It's another one, you know, like, oh, you know, they did the black person dirty. You know what I mean? Like they made it a race-based thing, right? They made it a race type of thing. But in reality, he was just trying to protect himself. And also, what they're not telling you is what they're not telling you is basically they're not telling you the cause of what he had to do to protect himself. You know, shout outs for Pink Book Lessons for bringing this into the forefront. So let's go ahead and look and see what was the actual cause of this. And this is why I say that, like, unfortunately, your biggest ops will not only be the opposite gender. Your biggest ops will be those men who fall under the Jada Pinkett syndrome, meaning they feel like they have to react when Akeisha is offended, or when she basically says, "Sick 'em, boy." But let's get into that.
This is Webflow. Meet the design tool from the future. The most powerful visual code.
Or give him back the merchandise. Have another method of payment. A electronic benefit. There's an incident that took place in New York City that led to a debate in the city and online throughout the nation surrounding a bodega worker, a customer, and her boyfriend. At about 11 p.m. on the 1st of July 2022, a woman and her daughter walked up to the counter inside the Blue Moon bodega. The woman wanted to pay for a bag of chips with her electronic benefits, also known as her EBT card. She had one problem though. The transaction was declined. The woman questioned the store clerk, asking him did he select food, and insisted that there was money on the card. The clerk reportedly tried running the transaction again, but ended up giving her the card back and telling the customer that it wasn't working.
So, if like there's a situation where, and I know it's embarrassing, I know it's hella embarrassing. But if there is a situation where, the EBT card is not working, then wouldn't the logical thing, and if you think there's money on it, wouldn't the logical thing be to be like, okay, I'll be right back. Let me call on this. But again, it's 11 o'clock at night, so you may have to wait until the next day to do it. But let's continue.
Now, a sane woman would say, okay, the card is not working. Here's another one. Or if they didn't have another method of payment, a sane woman would have got that bag of chips that was in her daughter's hands, placed them on the counter, walked out the store, and sometime between that night and the next day, she would have contacted the card's administration or customer service department. Let them know, hey, I tried to use my EBT card. It didn't work at the store. Can you look into it to let me know what's going on with the funds on my card? Leave it to them to explain what happened and see if she can fix that issue, so the next time that she went inside of a store pulling out the food stamp card, the card would work. Oh no, not this toxic woman. She did something that made complete sense to her, but no sense at all to sensible adults. Take a second to make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Click and decided to execute order number. I'm just going to turn up and be stuck there with two options. Present the cashier another method of payment or give him back the merchandise and leave. Instead, the woman decided to execute order number. I'm just going to turn up and be ratchet, and maybe the worker will just give me the chips for free in exchange for me leaving the premises and getting out of his hair. Well, that clerk didn't choose the latter.
Shout outs to the clerk, beard gang all the way. I'm going to be honest with you too. I'm going to be honest, and I noticed this. I get laughed at quite often by these new age like beta cuckozoids, and also get laughed at by these new age hyenas because I do keep a beard. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna be honest with you. When Nip was alive, we kind of took it upon ourselves to say, like, because he was asking about beards in Islam, and I told him, like, yeah, it's like part of our way, like, to grow a beard. You know what I mean? It's like something that we do because, like, it defines you. And then I went into the detail, like, I said, well, there's other things that constitute a beard, though. It's not necessarily just a full out, blown out beard, right? I said, if you have like chin under your hair and you decide you want to just grow that out instead, but you want to be clean cut around, then you can do that too, you know, and that would be considered a beard. You know what I mean? Like, it's up to, like, some people have different preferences. And then I said, you know, you can also have a full-blown Taliban, you know what I mean? And then that's when you said, yeah, I want a Taliban. Or I'm like, yeah, easy call. So when you look at the strong men of the world, with the exception of few who can't grow beards, most of them have beards. You look at, you know, the late great Hustle Man. You look at Fidel Castro. Even the latter part of Thomas Sankar's life, he started growing out a big beard. You know what I mean? You look at Rick Ross. You look at who else? Let me think. Oh, you look at Maurice Bishop of Grenada. He had a beard. Like, most of the strong men of the world, they have beards. You know what I mean? But shout outs to this brother, you know, beard gang.
His name Jose Alba. He snatched a bag of chips out of the little girl's hands, further giving that woman an excuse to yell and scream. She went from arguing that she knew her card had money on it to so-called defending her daughter from Jose, who snatched a bag from her.
If you understand this one concept, you can build a six-figure coding career within the next 8 to 6.
The woman started yelling and knocking goods down on his counter.
So my thing is this. If he snatched the bag of chips away from the daughter, right? That should be a cue to you to leave, right? If he didn't physically harm the daughter, which I don't think he did, then you just leave. There's no need to do the extra stuff. But let's continue.
She kept arguing with him and said that she was going to go get her man. She told Jose, I'm going to go get my man and he's going to come and F you up. And when she left...
Okay, let's see what she said. Okay, let's go.
She told Jose,
I'm going to bring my N down here and he going to F you up. My N going to come through here right now and F you up. The Will Smith, Jada Pinkett effect.
I'm going to go get my man and he's going to come and F you up. And when she left, no one would have thought that she would return with more considerable trouble. You know, maybe she was just talking. But it was sure that she left angrily. Sometime after, a man identified as Austin Simon, he walked into the store. Come to find out, that's the woman's boyfriend. The moment he came in, he went straight to Jose's only safe place. That's behind the counter. Austin shoved Jose into a wall of shelves.
Okay, so the first thing is, this is I hate to say it, and I'm not trying to disrespect the dead. I'm not going to try to disrespect the dead, but this is what happens when love outweighs logic. That's what I'm going to say. There's different types of love. The only love I strive to have is love for Allah and love for His Rasul, alayhi salatu salam. I hate to say it, but I don't want to love a woman in the sense, I don't want to love the woman in a sense that Hollywood presents it as Western society presents it as. I don't want to love a woman in that sense. You know what I mean? I don't want to do that because it could intoxicate you. You know what I mean? And it did with this guy, because any logical love, his love for his Keisha over like outweighed logical thinking, because he could have went up to the guy and just said, hey, you know, there may have been a disagreement or something like that, and I just want to like sit down with you and see what happened. He didn't do that though. He went straight and pushed him. But let's continue.
Grabbed him and attempted to pull him out. He told Jose his only request was that he apologize to the little girl for snatching the bag of chips from her. But surprisingly, the struggle turned into a massacre for both of them, evolving into something that no one expected. You see, Austin had Jose by the collar. which didn't give Jose an opportunity to free himself. The 61-year-old store clerk, he grabbed a knife that he usually used to open boxes and stabbed Austin, a man in his mid-30s, several times.
So, you know, I don't want to give out too many details, but you know, if you do grab a certain person, like if you grab someone, right? If you grab someone by the collar, there is a chance that that person can choke to death, right? So when that happens, that person is probably thinking, okay, it's either him or me. Once that person is thinking it's either him or me, then obviously that person is going to choose himself if he has the opportunity to.
In his heart, lung, and jugular vein. While Austin's life was slipping away, his girlfriend jumped in the fight to defend her man who came in the store to defend her, stabbing Jose. The woman yelled, "All over $3? You stabbed him over $3?
So you see how the ball turns, right? Now, you have to ask yourself, and I'm not suggesting any more violence as it is. I'm not really suggesting any violence. I don't like violence, as a matter of fact. But what I am saying is that this man, you know, obviously elderly man, got into a situation, right? That she orchestrated, you know, she decided to escalate the situation. But as you see, she stabbed the store owner, and you have to ask yourself, if she was capable of doing it in the first place, why would she send her man to do it? But let's continue.
Not once taking accountability that her man was there losing his life, defending her and her daughter over an argument that she instigated over a bag of chips. She basically blamed Jose for overreacting, saying that it wasn't worth $3. It's crazy that she was saying that he was overreacting over $3. The woman didn't even think to hold herself accountable for overreacting and instigating all this.
Keisha never does. And unfortunately, Halima's following right behind her as well. You know, Karen never does either. You know, Karen, Westernized Maria doesn't, and now unfortunately, Ling Ling is starting to feel the effects too, because now Ling Ling is saying that Lee and Chan, they're boring, and we're more inclined to Chad now. Chad does them dirty. Same cycle.
Over $3. As stated before, she had two options here: present another method of payment, or place the bag of chips on the counter and walk out. The small level of embarrassment of walking out without the counter, it was over. Even if you spoke to him from the other side of the counter and told him that you...
Product drops, when done right, can result in traffic.
His wife, and even in that situation...
According to police, a young mom tried to buy a bag of chips for her daughter, but her card was declined. She went to find her boyfriend, who came bursting through the door, went behind the counter, and grabbed Jose Alba. Surveillance video shows the violent struggle. There is Alba getting pummeled, then grabbing a knife and fatally stabbing the 34-year-old boyfriend, who reportedly has a long criminal record. Even New York's Mayor Eric Adams, who has made fighting crime his #1 priority, couldn't believe the DA would end up charging Alba.
So, you see that by all accounts, that he was a Pookie. You know what I mean? He was a Pookie Ray Ray type dude. And that's what initially attracted her to him, was the simple fact that, like, I mean, because as you see, they say that, okay, he has an extensive criminal record. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, you have some pro-black Instagram pages actually justifying him, saying, oh, he was just trying to protect his girlfriend. Oh, he was just trying to defend this lady's honor. You know, you have that pro-black element on Instagram who was defending his actions. So with that being said, it just goes to show you the degenerate behavior of this demographic of people.
I just want to come here and support brokers. Every day, innocent people in the city who are doing their jobs, and they should not be the victims of over-aggressive actions from anyone.
And so he would be called a coon by your average pro-black person.
Following Jose's arrest, he was held at Rikers Island on a $500,000 bond. Then it was lowered to $250,000. The community gathered together to even raise funds for him on GoFundMe for his bail, collecting about $20,000.
And so he was a family man, as you see. Family man.
$1,000 before GoFundMe removed the campaign.
I don't know why they would.
According to GoFundMe, the fundraiser violated their terms of service and said that you cannot raise legal money for violent crimes on their website. After days of protest, the DA, Alvin Bragg, was able to get Jose released on a $5,000 bond. This came after the community and other bodega workers.
But let this be whatchamacallit though. Let this be an example. Let this be an example of collective. Let this be an example of, let's say, communalism, okay, or AKA that the word that they don't like, communism. You know, let this be an example that when a collective force is behind something that is admirable, behind something that is effective, behind something that is constructive, that things can get done, okay? However, unfortunately, a certain demographic of people, namely Keisha, get behind campaigns that are counterproductive to the bettering of their lot and the bettering of society as a whole. But they're not the only ones. It's mostly all modern Western women who are behind things that are counterproductive to society at large.
Protested in defense of Jose, saying that workers in bodegas should be permitted to be armed, mainly for self-defense. All agreeing that Jose simply defended himself when Austin came behind the counter. It was reported that Jose told the woman, "Mama, I don't want any problems." He also told Austin, "Papa, I don't want any problems."
So you're seeing more proof that he was trying to avert the situation. But, I mean, let's be honest. If you have a criminal background, you probably got in a couple of melees in the joint. So you're kind of probably used to problems. So, you know, and again, that's another video in itself that, like, about, like, reforming prison, because, like, at the end of the day, like, you know, I don't think prison really reforms anybody. At least prison here doesn't, you know what I mean? But let's continue.
But after Austin pushed him and then grabbed him by his collar, he didn't know what else to do. Now, here's another point that's also being debated. The protesters, they're calling for bodega workers to have the right to be armed for situations like what happened to Jose, but Austin was not armed. He had no weapons. The police have not identified the lady who started the whole situation, which is quite strange, and she also wasn't charged for stabbing Jose. And here's the latest update in the case. The charges have been completely dropped.
Another developing story, we're following the Manhattan DA dropping second-degree murder charges against the Hamilton Heights bodega worker.
Jose Alba was charged after a deadly confrontation with a customer. Linda Schmidt is outside that bodega in Hamilton Heights for us tonight with the new developments. Linda.
Yeah, hi there, Stephen Lloyd. Well, first of all, this whole thing happened on July 1st. Just 6 days later, Mayor Adams came out and publicly supported that bodega worker, Jose Alba. Now, today is day 12, and the DA, Alvin Bragg, has dropped the murder charge against him. Now, go ahead and take a look. This is some file footage here, because after this story happened... and
now, the thing is, I want to say, too, is that, the average pro-black person is going to look at this in terms of a racial. He's going to look at it in terms of a racial construct. Now, granted, this brother is probably Puerto Rican that, you know, ended up doing what he did for self-defense, and of course, he's going to have other Puerto Ricans behind him. I'm pretty sure, though, however, if the attacker was, like, let's say if the attacker was Caucasian, then this same energy would be applied to this same energy would be applied to this situation. But the average pro-black will say this is another example of white supremacy in action, and I'm beginning to hate that word a lot, because when you say supremacy, you're actually implying that someone is superior to you. When you say things like that, I'm beginning to hate that word. You know what I mean?
After Alba was originally charged with murder, there was a boatload of publicity on this, not just in the media, but also social media. There were rallies held in defense of Alba, people saying that he was just defending himself that day and that his life...
Okay, looks like he was Dominican.
Life had been in danger. Well, today the DA's office said that it decided to drop that murder charge against him because it would have been unable to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Alba was not justified in using deadly physical force. Now,
so you see that, like, you see the fact that you see that in this situation, right? That he was again defending himself. The average pro-black, I can pull it up, will say that it was not, that it was uncalled for. You know, with me, for example, right, and I'm just going to say this, and this has a lot to do with my upbringing, and it also has a lot to do with Islam. I mean, I'm not going to get too much into my upbringing, but, you know, when you have a family that studied in the former Soviet Union, when you have family that studies in Cuba, when you have family that has done these things, you tend to have a universal view of the world, whether versus just a black and white view of the world. You are, however, conscious of certain group of people's, like, atrocities around the world, but at the same time, you look at things on a case-by-case basis, and you don't just overly just get emotional about a certain thing that occurred with one demographic of people against another demographic of people, like this incident.
Now, he had stabbed 35-year-old Austin Simon multiple times after Simon came behind the counter at the bodega and shoved Alba into the wall after Alba had gotten into an argument with Simon's girlfriend. Well, today, the mayor was asked again about this and about what he thought about the DA dropping the charge. We also spoke with a bodega association leader, and here is what they both had to say. They support the DA's decision.
Getting an LLC for your business doesn't have to look like this. Just Google LLC Taylor Brands. It's totally easy. You pick a...
This happens sometimes in cases. The preliminary arrests, after review, decisions are made. And so I think in this case, We had an innocent, hardworking New Yorker that was doing his job, and someone was extremely aggressive towards him. And I believe that after the DA's review, the DA, in my opinion, made the right decision.
We are very sorry because a life lost is a life. You know, we're really sorry, but we have to understand the fact, the way how it happened. He came to attack, you know, in the manner, you know, not care about Jose to commit a crime, because that was what he came to commit a crime.
Now, District Attorney Alvin Bragg, he has come under intense criticism since he came into office in January. He has been accused by many people of being soft on crime and soft on criminals. And then many people, there were a large crowd of people who were outraged by his decision in this case to charge the person that many believe is the victim in this case, charging that person with murder while not charging other criminals with stronger crimes that they had been accused of committing. But again, he dropped that murder charge today.
I mean, at the end of the day, it was self-defense, and if anything, I know this sounds harsh, but the woman should be charged with aggravated assault for stabbing him and starting the situation. She should be charged, but we know that's not going to happen. We know that's not going to happen at all.
Back inside to you.
All right. Perhaps he was listening. All right, Linda. Thank you.
20-year-old man who immigrated from the Dominican Republic 30 years ago, they're worried about retaliation. Some are questioning the usage of a knife and the extent to which the deceased was stabbed. Then you have those who believe that Jose was only protecting himself and didn't care if he used a knife or not. In fact, they want him to have more protection by promoting legislation that would have allowed... Let's go ahead and get the conversation.
So, you know, I'm just gonna ask this thing. I'm gonna just ask this real quick. And before I end this commentary, what would you have done in that? Number one, what would you have done in that situation, right? Number two, do you think that he may have thought that maybe he had a weapon on him and that's why he did what he did? And number three, aren't you allowed to, in Islam, aren't we allowed to defend ourselves? Now, granted, he's not Muslim, but I'm just saying that I'm speaking from a Muslim perspective. Aren't we allowed to defend ourselves? Let me know what y'all think. But anyhow, Foolish signing out. Leave your thoughts, leave your comments. Unjarama.